If you compare this figure of Xiao to their very first Genshin figure, which was Klee, it feels like Apex toys today and the Apex toys from 2 or 3 years ago are completely two different companies. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven and today we have a scale figure unboxing as well as a review. Yup, this is Apex Toys 1x7 scale Xiao from Genshin Impact. He was actually released back in late July. Mid to late July in China at least, right? That was an exclusive release in China, and then several weeks later, by mid-August, he is already out in the international market. If you go to AmiAmi.com and search for this figure, yeah, he is already in stock. So you can pick one up now if you did not pre-order him. As for the official pricing in China at least, he was only 1,000 Chinese yuan, yeah, 999 CNY. But the Japanese pricing, right, if you convert it, it is slightly higher, I think, than the China pricing. So there you go, really depends where you got this figure from. I got mine from the China market, yeah, so I got this quite early compared to the international market. And as usual, we shall proceed to unbox this figure and see what the assembly process is like. And that concludes the figure unboxing process of this 1x7 scale figure of Xiao from Genshin Impact. Now with this figure, right, being a 1x7 scale, I would say I was expecting him to be taller given the scale is 1x7, but this feels a bit like a 1x8 scale figure. But at the same time, if you compare it with Ningguang or even Keqing, right, and Ganyu as well, yeah, I think their sizes are exactly the same, so no issues over here. I'm not sure of the height of this character over here, but I could imagine based on my impressions over here, this is not a very tall guy to begin with. As you could tell from the figure unboxing process earlier, assembling this figure is very straightforward, no difficulties at all on my side. Just follow the instructions as provided and you'll be fine. Initially, I was a bit confused which spear is which side, but just a bit of trial error and with common sense, you will figure it out, right? The issue I have with the assembly process or the way this figure was being packaged in the box is that out of the 5 spears on his base, in his base, yeah, only 2 of them are separate. The remaining 3 are permanently glued to the base already. And especially this one in front on my right side over here, this one is very vulnerable to breakage because it is extending outwards and towards the periphery, the sides of the box, right, almost unprotected. So in case the postman is a bit too violent with your box, with a parcel, yeah, there is a likelihood of this spear in front here breaking. At least with the packaging and the box of this figure, I have no complaints at all. I would give this box an easy 10 out of 10. This is a very solid box. Very similar to Keqing's box, but Keqing was a non-windowed box, so you're getting a window in front here. And I like how clean the box design is. With the color here, very nice and pleasant to look at, right? It is not too cluttered with many imagery and so on. Very clean design, very minimalist. I love it. So this is an excellent box, but regardless of that, yeah, sometimes you need a bit of luck. You don't want a postman with a bad mood on that particular day, yeah, tossing a parcel into your doorstep, right? Now moving on to the figure itself, right, it got me thinking. Apex Toys had already set themselves quite a high bar with Ningguang. Ningguang was an amazing figure by all means. Unfortunately, comes with an overpackaged box, right? The box was ridiculous, a wooden box. And then on the other hand, after Ningguang, we got Keqing, which is one of my favorite figures in this series of Genshin Impact figures by Apex. Keqing was the definition of value in the sense that you're getting a high quality figure with barely any faults on it, and you're getting a unique base plus a high quality box. It was a perfect package and the figure does not cost too much as well. Meanwhile, Ganyu was a bit too simple. The figure was very well made, but a bit too simple, too simplified that it felt like a low budget product even though it was very high quality. Not to mention that Ganyu figure can be plugged into Ningguang's base, making her feel a bit more like a cheaper accessory to Ningguang rather than a high quality scale figure on her own. And then this figure of Xiao in front of me, this is like the combination of all of that 3 figures into one single product. Ningguang was excellent, Keqing was excellent, Ganyu was amazing, and then somehow Apex Toys finds a way to make all 3 figures even better in the form of this Xiao figure in front here. It is quite hard for me to think of the exact words to describe this Xiao, but then it feels like this is a further refinement of every single scale figure Apex Toys has done up to this point. If you compare this figure of Xiao to their very first Genshin figure, which was Klee, yeah, it was a very stark contrast. It is very different. It feels like Apex Toys today and the Apex Toys from 2 or 3 years ago are completely 2 different companies, and that is how good they have gotten today. The sculpt of this figure is like a perfect 10 out of 10. Unlike Ningguang, the prototype pictures, the sample photos, and the final product, yeah, the face was a bit different, but not really a big issue over there. But with this Xiao over here, it is like an exact replica of everything we have been shown by the company so far, that I could not nitpick anything at all, no matter how hard I tried, and that is how good this figure is. As for the paintwork of this figure, it is the same story all over again. No matter how hard I tried to search for flaws on this figure, no paint scratches, no paint bleeding, no inconsistencies in the layers of the painting and so on, no ugly seam lines, nothing at all. And every single part they are supposed to be put together, to be assembled together, the tightness is also just right. Every part fits together very nicely, no overly loose or tight parts. If you want to take this figure apart and put him back into the box, yeah, no difficulties as well. The quality control is impeccable over here. My 2 favorite parts of this figure, the first one has to be the spear. Yeah, those green color transparent blades surrounding the main body, which is metallic gold. They just look fabulous. Very detailed, very precise paint work. And yeah, maybe some of you are already cringing looking at the close-up pictures and videos of this spear. Yeah, it is very fragile. You want to be very careful with handling this spear over here because In case you do break it, I could imagine it is very difficult, maybe even nearly impossible to glue it back without leaving behind an ugly stain. Yeah, be very careful about it. The second part, my favorite part over here, has to be that mask in his left hand. Yeah, I do think it is really badass. And the last part, the base, right? This is where I may have a couple of very subjective opinions, even though my overall impression is still very positive. Now to the good part of this base. This is a diorama base of some kind, rock base with spears in it. I think that is really nice, and it makes the figure a bit stand out a bit more, right? Rather than the plain boring round disc base. I like the effort they have put into the base over here. Not to mention, there is only one single metal foot back. But regardless of that, the figure is very stable, does not really wobble too much when you shake it. Rock solid despite only one single foot back. This is a very nice and well balanced figure. This is excellent. However, on the negative parts, I'm not sure if I would call this a negative, more like an opinion. The first thing is regarding the spears surrounding him. I think they look a bit too plasticky. I feel like I'm looking at toy spears being shoved into the ground rather than real metallic spears. And the second thing is the rock base over here, right? I'm assuming this is rock, not shiny crystals in a dungeon or something. I assume this is a rock. And for a rock base, right, this is a bit too glossy, too shiny. I think rocks shouldn't be so shiny. Yeah, once again, something very subjective. Overall, this is still an excellent base. I will still give the base part a 9 out of 10 easily, right? Now moving on to my final thoughts on this figure. Yeah, this is a refinement on what is already excellent in the market, previous Genshin figures by Apex. And I'm really happy to see that they are still trying to better themselves, trying to improve, even though they are already receiving praises. They're not stopping there, they try to be better and better. And this is an excellent purchase for all Genshin Impact fans. Maybe unless you don't buy figures of male characters, I'm one of those people. There are exceptions, of course. I would totally buy a figure of Gilgamesh from FGO, for example. This figure of Xiao is indeed a work of art coming from Apex, period. Go and buy one if you haven't yet. I can't imagine this figure becoming very rare. I think Apex Toys manufactured a lot of these. It is even in stock in Ami, so you can go ahead and get one even if you did not drop down an early bird pre-order. And that concludes my review for today. What do you think about this figure? Let me know down in the comments below. Did you pre-order one? Or yours is already on the way? Yeah. Let me know as well, and thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this figure review, please do give this video a like and consider subscribing to this channel for more figure reviews like this in the future. Until then, I shall see you guys again very soon. Goodbye.